Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right. Hello. Welcome to Cashflows. I'm your host today, Cash Matthews. And we are very, very glad you're here. We like to talk about those life questions and explore the answers to things about life and finance and hobbies and entrepreneurship, particularly in relationships. We talk about all those things. We call the answers to those things the path to the good life. And hopefully we will enhance your life a little bit today. We're glad you're here. You ever feel stalled out?
On occasion.
You know, that's one of the things I think entrepreneurs suffer with is like they lose momentum or they're walking through deep mud. And that's sort of what it's like in the early days of entrepreneurship. And, for me, when I was in those times, I just wanted somebody to copy off of. And so what we do here at Cashflows is we bring people into the studio that have had an element of success that are doing the thing. And it might be business, it might be life, it might be acting. But we put them in front of the camera and let them share some of their paths to victory. And hopefully you can copy off of your neighbor. We think that's one of the best things that you can do. Yeah. And so our philosophy here at Cashflows, it's for people who are, entrepreneurs and dreamers and visionaries. And if you're one of those, I think you're going to love it here. So our philosophy, as you see on the board behind me, is fire, aim, ready. And it's really about a philosophy of just taking action, not perfect action, but just action. And that has served many of us well before, and we think it will you as well. And so fire, aim, ready. I think we're ready for action. And with that, I'd like to introduce my cohort, Mr. Kenneth B.O.N.G. Kenneth, hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Man, middle of the day. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm psyched, actually.
Yeah, I feel good.
Keep going.
I can't. I got to pay the fees if we sing much more.
Oh, yeah. I think you're only allowed like 7 seconds.
Yeah.
We got to pay a royalty.
Yeah.
With
7
fees.
milliseconds for me because,
Well, as good as it is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, Kenneth, I don't know if you know, last night, we had a long day with podcasts yesterday, a very productive day.
Oh, very productive day.
Things are going great with the Cashflows podcast, and thank you for all you do, by the way.
You're welcome.
I popped online last night. I had gotten out my Commodore 64 computer,
right,
like I do so often, and just logged on, did the dial-up, and got a good connection. Took me a little bit.
Yeah. Had to tell all your friends to hang up the phone.
Well, yeah, my daughter kept getting on the extension.
Yeah,
and
that's so annoying.
So we had to get her off the line. Stay off the phone,
Mom.
But I got logged on finally and had an AOL disk and actually got mailed to me. Those things are still good if you can find one. I'd always used them as coasters,
right,
on my coffee table.
That's what I do.
Had an extra 15 minutes, logged on, got in a chat room, and was just kind of digging around in the chat room. Met a guy that says he knows you.
Okay.
Yeah. And apparently he has submitted information to our show many times.
Oh.
And he goes by the name Hink Dog.
Hink Dog's back again.
A real person. Don't want to give out his full name.
Okay.
But
does it start with an H?
That's his first name. Well, it could in theory, but
in theory, but you're
his first
protecting
name,
his identity.
Possibly.
Public podcast seen worldwide.
Yeah,
worldwide.
like 7-8 people listen to this around the globe.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to him. But anyway, so we got to chatting about life and other things, and he's like, hey, I want you to tell Kenneth B.O.N.G. I got something for him. And he's like, I want you to write it down for me, and I want you to do it on the show live.
Of course.
And I'm like, all right. And so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And if it's okay, I'd like to just read it to you. I wrote it down.
Well, I'll have to, yes, I'll allow it.
Okay, I'll allow it. I appreciate that. So here's the question from Mr. Hink Dog. Hey, Kenneth.
Yes?
I'd like to know, what's a guy like you doing in a nice place like this?
Oh, Hink Dog. So he asked this question a lot, and I actually decided I'm going to start asking my own questions. I'm actually conducting a survey.
Okay.
So you can send this back to him, see what he says.
I'll be back online next week.
Yeah. So here we go. Which is funnier, a duck or a chicken?
Should I answer on his behalf?
You can go ahead and answer, and then we need to send that to him as well.
Okay, I think it would be a chicken.
Okay. Why is that?
Because if you throw it, you have poultry in motion.
Okay.
Poultry in motion, nothing?
No, that's not. That's good. I hit the button and everything.
All right. Yeah. I just thought I would have got a guffaw.
Guffaw! That-
That was pretty good.
oh, thank you.
Okay, don't ever do that again. All right. Well, we're going to get on with the show.
We should probably do that. Our guest is
Yeah,
over there
getting
waiting.
agitated like, what is this?
What have I gotten myself
All right.
into?
Well, we are excited today to have Liliana Gullo here today. She is the founder of Lily Chris Photography. You can find her at lilychrisphotography.com. And Lily is LILYCHRIS photography. If you don't know that, never mind. Lily Chris Photography, and we'll say that a few more times if you're looking for a pen. But glad you're here, Lily. Congratulations on all that's been going on in your world.
Thank you.
And our studio audience is equally glad that you're here today.
Yeah, I'm surprised you have a great turnout. The audience is
unbelievable,
massive.
man.
I'm surprised we fit them in here.
Yeah.
Filmed before a live studio audience.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's also about the same size as my storm shelter. I think we're going to do a show from there, like in May when the storms really come in.
That should be exciting.
That would be kind of awesome. So, well, Liliana, we're really glad you're here, and we've known each other a little while now through this weird event called the B.O.N.G.
Yes.
And the Business Owners Networking Group. I guess that's where we met for the first time.
Yes, it is.
Right, and then we became friends through that, and you've been a big part of what the B.O.N.G. Group is all about. And just give us a minute on what your experience has been and what it's done to your business or friendship, or give us a comment or two about the B.O.N.G.
Yeah, actually, I've got a couple good stories.
Oh, good. Bring it.
So, which I wasn't prepared for, but I have them ready because I tell people all the time. So I joined, was it last, probably November, I think was my first meeting.
Right.
I bought a house last September.
Right.
And I had my housewarming party in January the next year. So I bought my house before I even knew the people that showed up to my event, my housewarming party. And there were, I think, 20 people from the Business Owner Networking Group that I had made, I'd become friends with because they showed up at my house to celebrate that I'd bought a house. They didn't even know me when I bought it.
Right.
So that's was a real moment of like, wow, like these are legit people that are, I'm building a community with and making great friendships. So.
Right. You said you had two stories. Oh, the second one's important too.
So the second one has been just this full year I've been in the group. I sat down here, running my end of the year numbers and taking a look back to see who all I'd worked with. And I started making a list because I was going to thank all the people from the group.
Right.
And I was like, I probably had like 15 people. I had over 60. I was like, I think it's 64 to 65 total people I took pictures of this year. And so, with just all the support of everybody and a couple other key things, I did hire a business coach this year, which really helped me, just explode in my trajectory. But, I've been able to triple my gross this year from last year. So,
all right, can we get a thing for triple the gross?
Audience, applause,
yes,
please.
thank you very much. Yes. Triple the gross.
Yeah.
You got it.
Hit the bong, triple the gross. I'm making a bumper sticker.
Oh, no.
We know people for that, too.
Yeah, we do. Well, so, the cool part is about making friends.
Yes.
You and I have become friends, and actually you and I are going to get to do some work together.
Mm-hmm.
And we are recording this at a time where if we told a story that's secret, my wife could hear it if it was live today. But Liliana and I are going to go photograph me and my favorite dog, Goose, here very soon.
Oh.
Hopefully between now and the time that this audio comes out, because hey, Katie, I got
Surprise.
you again. This is what I do. But you're going to photograph our family as well.
Yeah.
And we are psyched about that. We're trying to make it where our older daughter comes in town, and maybe we can get all of us together, because we just, so often in life, we don't take enough time to document what we're doing. And to I don't know, photographs are something that live, that maybe your great-great-grandchildren are looking at going, oh man, my great-great-grandmother, Katie, sure chose poorly. But it's a generational kind of gift, or a generational kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm psyched about it. And that's going to be a gift. I gave Katie an alternative gift and told her, this is your Christmas gift.
Oh, so she'll be really excited to know.
Yeah, she has no idea that that's not actually her gift. And you're going to have to help me pull this off at some point. So the great scam is on.
Bum, bum, bum.
And maybe we get Katie in for a podcast.
Oh.
And then we deliver, I don't know, but somehow we need to do that. Or maybe we have her listen to this podcast.
Oh, and then you come up behind her with the pictures?
Yeah. We need to get out there.
That's a good idea.
Okay, well, very cool. I'm excited. I like photography. And I am with Kenneth, who's a photographic genius in video.
Amazing.
We need to come up with another name for video, like Vidiot.
Oh my word.
That's for like the unprofessionals.
Oh, it is?
They're
Oh,
called vidiots.
Motion picture.
Okay. Okay, I like it. So we want to learn a little bit about you. It's been fun for me to watch you enter our group, and I know you'd been through some life changes, and everybody's going through a change here and there.
Yep.
And what's interesting is to watch people climb that mountain that sometimes just gets put in front of them, through no fault of their own. Just life just sort of shows up, and then, oh, I'm gonna have to climb this mountain.
Yeah.
And but you did, and your business is thriving, and you're thriving, and making friends, and I mean
Yeah.
that right there's a pretty good show. We can just cut it off right there, and
Yeah. Oh, you want me to hit the button? We'll do the.
now let's keep on
Oh,
going.
okay.
Well, I've got questions.
Oh, that's right. The questions. The questions.
We all don't stop long enough to take family photos,
Yep.
and
But we do stop long enough to record a podcast.
well, you and I do, yes,
Oh,
we do,
okay.
Yeah.
but we don't often ask people questions. Like we
Yeah.
go have a one-on-one, see if we can sell them something. And anyway, I'm excited about this one today.
Yeah.
I think we met your coach here.
Yeah.
Are we
she
allowed
was
to say
here
her name?
yesterday. Yeah, Pamela Jean with A New Life coaching me, and
Yep.
she has been my biggest cheerleader, which has honestly, I think one of the biggest things I've gotten from her is just having that person that believes in me,
Right.
Yeah.
And encourages me to keep going when some days I'm like, what
Yeah.
am I doing?
We're all kind of like that on certain days.
Yeah.
So, well, let's get to know Liliana Gullo a little bit better, and let's start with something that I think people would like to know about you. Um, let's find out something that you've done, or a little bit about you that nobody else has ever done.
Okay. So I can't say for certainty that nobody's ever done this, but
We're-
very small chance of happening.
It's on a podcast. Whatever you say is
So if you
fact.
fact check me,
We don't have
don't
fact
cancel the
checkers.
show. So I was actually born on Mother's Day in the car on the way to the hospital.
Wow.
Whoa.
So yeah, and I came out. I kind of predicted my own timing. I was like, "Listen, I'm ready. I don't care if you are. I'm doing what I want." I still am like that to some degree, but I also gave my mother the best present she could ever have on Mother's Day. So
A baby.
yeah, I mean, who else has done that?
I don't know.
Just
I think
saying.
yeah, that's a pretty good deal right there.
Hey, there you are.
Yeah.
All right. So, how many children in your family? On your side, on your mom, how many?
Siblings, like in my
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah, that's the right word.
my dad has 2 kids, and then he got married to my mom, and we have 6 in my immediate family. So I'm one of the 6. I'm the second oldest, and yeah, I have 3. There's 3 girls and 3 boys. So me and my sister were the oldest, and then there's 3 boys, and then the baby is my other sister.
All right. So wait, you were born in a car, did you say that?
Yeah. Hmm.
Was it like a taxi in New York City, kind of a big thing, or just in the
No,
car?
it was like a station wagon in the 80s, and
Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
I was going to say not a Hallmark movie or anything. It's just a regular.
yeah.
Seen
A
a lot
regular
I've
movie.
heard about a lot of conceptions in station wagons, but
Now I don't know if that's how it got started. But yeah, that's how it ended.
I'm unable to continue. I'm sorry. All right. So, one of 6.
Mhm.
Let's learn a little bit about you growing up and where it was, and
Yeah.
school, and siblings, and hobbies. Just tell us a little bit about your life.
Okay, so I grew up in Oklahoma City, one of 6. My mom homeschooled us
Oh, cool.
all the way through. I never set foot in a public school as a student, which I didn't appreciate when I was younger. Like my high school years, I was pretty mad. I was like, I want to go to school. Now I realize our school district was really not that safe, and it was probably best.
Oh.
And I don't regret now being homeschooled, but it was kind of hard as a teenager. Obviously, you think you're missing out.
Sure.
Now I appreciate it. But yeah, and my mom and dad, my mom, so she stayed home. So we were one income family. I now as an adult, and I realize I'm pretty sure my dad made about 20,000 a year as we were growing up, supporting 6 kids. Now
Wow.
it went further back then,
Sure.
but still, I'm like, well, it answers a lot of the questions now as an adult. As a kid, we're like, well, why can't we only have a piece of cheese or bologna on our sandwich? Like, I want a piece of cheese and bologna, like, but we could afford to
Right.
all have 2 slices of something. So, but as an adult now raising my own 5 children, which I said, I'm never having a bunch of kids. I'm never driving a van. I'm never homeschooling. Like, I've done all those things.
And now you're doing all of those.
I don't currently homeschool anymore. I tried it and it was
Yeah, you
not
have to
for
be
me.
careful
But
what you say you'll never do.
yeah. So I pretty much did all the things I was like, I'm not doing. But now as adults, I have 6 best friends, 5, 6, 7 8. I have my half brother and sister as well, that we're really close with. But yeah, now we
That's
have
awesome.
built-in best friends. It's amazing.
Okay, so now have your children followed you on any level of interest in like self-employment, entrepreneurship? Do they see what you're doing,
Yeah.
and that has to be a giant influence on them? How are you influencing your children?
Yeah, so I give them opportunities to come and help with me sometimes when it's appropriate. Like I have a family session and there's like a bunch of little kids. I'll bring one of my middle children and they'll help wrangle the kids. And then I have one son who's very, let's just say he bought like something for at a garage sale for like 50 cents and they turned around and sold it to his grandma for like $40.
Oh,
So
Wow.
he's got that. I'm not going to say swindling abilities, but that
that's just
Capitalism.
capitalism. Yes,
Yes,
Capitalism.
exactly.
Yeah.
raw
And
capitalism.
to be honest, I think his grandma had $40 in her pocket burning a hole anyways, so she was happy to
Got
give it
it.
to him.
Got it. Very cool. So, entrepreneurial, but not all your life. Uh,
Actually, so yeah, I
I,
really like now that I know what an entrepreneur is. I was always one I hated 9 to 5. Like I'm just
yeah.
like I'm not. So I worked a lot of restaurants growing up because I could kind of switch shifts. I could pick up shifts. I could hustle and earn more money that night. Work
Hmm.
harder, take on more things, and kind of you know
Yeah.
gauge my income that way. And then photography's always been something I've wanted to do, and so that's kind of now what I'm using as not working a 9 to 5, and I work for myself when I want.
Yeah. Now she's working 80
Now I'm
hours a
working 80
week
hours a
Yeah.
week.
to
Yeah.
avoid
Right.
to avoid working 40 hours a week.
Yeah, pretty
That all
much.
makes sense. Well, one other thing I think that bears mention is one of the things that I was fascinated by is you sing very well.
I do.
And I think maybe I put some of your videos online. Did I do that?
I don't
Do you
know.
remember me putting a video of you
You
singing?
probably shared something, yeah.
Yeah, I did. And the next thing you know, I mean, you were already singing, but I saw a video of you. I'm like, oh yeah, this has got to go viral. And your children sing as well?
Oh yeah, actually they all do. My oldest son is in the show choir at Jinx, which is like you have to audition to get in. So he's super talented. All my kids are.
Right.
He's just the one that's really actively doing it right now. So it actually makes me really happy. And I chaperoned one of the trips for the show choir, and it was like a surreal moment because he's a freshman this year.
Ooh,
He's my oldest, and I'm like, oh my God, one more thing I'm doing that I said I probably would never do is going on like chaperoning my son's like choir trip. Because my mom used to come on our choir trips, and we
right.
were like, oh my gosh, mom, So now I'm like, okay, I gotta be cool, don't embarrass him. And anyways, he's a
Yeah.
good kid though.
That's kind of fun to embarrass your kids a little bit though,
I
right?
do a
Just a
little
little
bit,
bit.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I'm just built for that. That's pretty awesome. So let's talk for a second, just your first foray into photography as like the first time or what it was. I don't know. I mean, that's such a fascinating field, and we've heard a few stories about photography. What was yours?
Yeah, so I mean, as long as I can remember, I enjoyed taking pictures, and I had a camera in high school. Even though I was homeschooled, we did have social life and did things. So I would take it on. We had choirs and things. So I remember always taking pictures of things. And then when I was a senior in high school, was doing a VOTech course in Oklahoma City for graphic design because that was something I was kind of interested in. That was gonna be my backup plan if I didn't make it as a
Graphic
big
design.
time actress and singer, which we can see this. I'm on backup plan. So that part of that class, we had an assignment to take pictures and develop the film in the darkroom,
Oh,
and then we had to put it on a metal plate to run on a press. So that little component of the taking the pictures and developing it really piqued my interest. I was like, oh, this is really cool. So my instructor of the course happened to know somebody at a Moto Photo, which I don't know if y'all remember.
I
Some of
remember
y'all
Moto
remember Moto
Photo.
Photo.
Those
That's
were the days.
I
Yeah.
know, right? So I started working there, just developing film and working the counter. And then they had a studio as well, a photography studio. And studio manager knew I was interested in taking pictures, and she just took me under her wing and taught me how to
Oh,
shoot in the studio. And I'll never forget, they had like a senior ambassador that came in. It was like a real popular person from one of the real popular schools, and they bring him in like, we'll give you a free session for advertising, and you tell all your friends.
Hmm.
And like they let me shoot this, and I'm like thinking back now, I'm like, oh my God, like that was stupid, but I mean, I nailed it apparently, and it was
right.
great. But so she just really believed in me, and that was a big kind of part of me launching, realizing, oh, I could maybe do this. So
So, cool question. Is that somebody you're still in contact
You
with?
know,
Does she know about you now?
I need to. I had forgotten her name for the longest time, and then funny story. My mom who keeps everything. She gave me a bunch of random papers she found of mine, and it was an old resume that had her name and not contact on it.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to go find her and see. Hopefully she's. I mean, because this was 20 years ago, and she was older than me. She's not that old, but
I think we should videotape her calling her mentor.
oh,
Bum, bum,
I'll have
Like
to
at the
see.
end of this show, seriously,
Okay.
let's just
I
get
don't
on.
Let's
have the
do it.
number with me, but we'll see. I
Oh,
might
dude, we can find it.
918-555-1234.
call in if your name is April and you worked at Moto Photo
Yeah, right.
and a
April
long time ago.
April from Moto Photo. I like it. Very
Yeah.
cool. So she was a mentor for how long?
I was probably with them about a year or so, and then um, at that was kind of the age, the digital era age, and
Right.
so I mean that was like when the first digital cameras were out. So that's film was starting to digress, and so they closed down one of their stores, and then everybody kind of moved over to one, and then they didn't have any more spots for everybody, so I kind of dwindled out of there. So from there, I kind of started shooting stuff for friends and family. I did several weddings and just loved the weddings. Enjoyed doing that. And just kind of did it for people who asked. I wasn't actively pursuing it
Right.
as a career at that time, but it's something I wanted to do. I just didn't know how or think it was possible to actually make a living on it.
So what was your aha moment when you realized, hey, this is something I can do, for money?
Well, I was probably 21, 22, 23-ish years. And I'd kind of gone through a bad relationship and was kind of starting over, trying to figure out, okay, well, now what am I going to do with my life? And I started pursuing that and was actually like actively trying to get clients and charging a little more, still not enough, but that kind of set me on the path of being like, okay, I want to do this as a business because it's really the only thing that makes me happy, that I'm excited to do.
It fills you up. I mean, when you do something that you love.
Yeah.
Has there been a session that you look back on and like, this is the best session I've ever shot?
Man, I don't know. This year I've done some amazing things. I've kind of leveled up just in some of my equipment and really bringing in more like artificial lighting to the scenes, which
Hmm.
you wouldn't necessarily know that I had that there when you look at the picture, because if we were outside, for example, but it just gives it that little extra, I don't know, spark. But somebody told me last year at um, a photocon convention, actually Kenneth was there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was.
And I went to one of the sessions, and that was one of the things the guy that was speaking said, listen, go up, take it to the next level, try adding these lighting. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna start trying. So this year there has been there was a really cool sunset session that I did, because it's funny because of the chaos of it. Like, because I didn't know what I was doing, like, at all, like never done this before. But I was like, I'm gonna just try. So I talked to a lady. She's kind of a local influencer, and offered her a free session because she's really pretty and photographs well. And we went to the lake and we did some pictures, and then it was like sunset, and it's like you have like a 10-minute window,
Right.
like when it's just perfect. So we're like running to the waterfront, and like I'm like, okay, you hold this light here, and her son and husband were there. Thankfully, I was like, I had her son like crouching down behind her with a light behind her, and I had one over here. And again, I had no idea what I was doing, like at all. But somehow they all turned out really cool, I thought, and I was very pleased with the outcome. And so this year, I think that's probably one of my highlights. Just not knowing what I was doing, but then realizing, oh, I guess I kind of knew what I was doing, or it wouldn't have turned out.
Right.
So maybe I do know a little bit more than I'm giving myself credit for. So,
So have you ever shot weddings?
oh yeah. So, yeah, I used to do a lot of weddings, and I still really love weddings. And I had one this year that was a really big wedding. I was kind of regretting it just because I was like, I don't want to do weddings anymore. But I was, I'm a friend.
Is this the one I'm thinking of?
Yes,
Okay.
and we're really good friends with the person, and so I was happy to do it, but I was regretting it just because I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be such a long day. My body's not the way it used to be," and I'd already mentally stepped out of the wedding space, and so, and I've never had a bad wedding. Like, I've never had a bad experience. I'm really good with flowing with chaos and chaos of a wedding day. But anyways, doing her wedding, really, I don't know. I was so I actually stayed way longer than I told I was going to, because I was just having so much fun.
It was a beautiful
So
event.
it was fun. The bride and groom were just beautiful and kind and sweet. I mean, no drama.
Right.
And so it actually has ignited my love for weddings again. I'm like, okay, I'll do like 3 weddings a year. So I'm a very exclusive wedding photographer.
I think
I
you
will
need
only
to
take a few.
go until you hit a bridezilla.
Yeah, see, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
That
where
could
it's
be like
at.
your cutoff. Like I'm gonna run with this till
Yeah,
I
but see, I'm at the point though where like I will interview you and I will not you won't just be able to hire me. Like I
right.
will choose who I'm going to shoot for.
Right.
So,
Well, let's talk about
yeah.
that. How do you, because you can't take everybody, nor would you want to. I'm
No.
surprised you took me as a client, but I'm so glad you did.
It's going to be a challenge, but I'm up for it.
I am
I
just
needed a
gonna
good
I am
challenge.
just gonna stand there. It's your job to make me look pretty. You'll win some kind of an Academy Award for this or whatever. Um, how do you choose who to work with? Because I know you have choices now,
Hmm.
and you've elevated your game, and so you're not just trying to shoot pictures of everybody.
Yeah.
What's the perfect client for you?
Yeah. So this year, one of the things I've done is niched into branding. So more
Oh,
like business professionals, headshots, but a little bit more, not just your classic headshot, more lifestyle branding, like branding you as a person and for your business. And so Um, I definitely am not for everybody, but I do look for those people that are really highly motivated, that already have some level of success, that
mm,
has a marketing budget, that understands the importance of marketing yourself, and
mm,
it's looking for that person that will take those images. And I do a little bit of video work, not full on productions, um, but that will elevate your images to a level that you'll stand out because people are like, oh, that's different than the last 50 on my feed of people just
right,
taking pictures with their cell phones. So,
right.
yeah.
So cool. All right. Well, you know what we're gonna do now?
What are we going to do now?
We are going to do a brief studio break where we hear from Mr. Kenneth Bockham about the sponsor of today's show. Kenneth.
All right, today's show is sponsored by CM Customs. Embark on a journey into the realm of affordable custom gifting and branded excellence with CM Customs. From custom trophies to personalized closing gifts, lake maps, drinkware, and professional branding items, we're your go-to for unmatched customization, making you the hero of every occasion. Learn more at shopcmcustoms.com.
One of my favorites.
You say that so well.
Very, very thankful for Claire Shaw.
It's
CM
the
Customs.
music. The music helps it flow.
Yeah.
I'm digging the music. So, all right. So we're here with Liliana Gullo, and she is the founder and president of Lily Chris Photography, lilychrisphotography.com. Lily is Lily. Chris with a C, photography with a G.
And a bunch of other
Yeah.
letters
And
in
some
there.
other letters. Lily Chris Photography. How much more clear can we be?
.com with a dot,
.com with
Yeah.
dot with a, which is a DOT.
right?
Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook as well. And Liliana photographs people and soon to be animals.
I do make exceptions only for people I like.
Well, I am so thankful.
Oh.
We're going to photograph my idiot dog Goose, and I hope you get lots of outtakes because
Oh, I'm sure we
that'll
will.
that'll make it worth it. So, you took your hobby from a hobby to a career,
Hmm.
and then it's really begun to elevate in the last couple of years. Like things have really moved. You've really moved the needle, and you have a coach, and like
Yes.
you've got a legit photography business.
Thank you.
Um, and like it's just for us has been really fun to watch that. There has to have been a pivotal moment in your life. Was there a moment everything changed? Like the moment you have one
Yes.
of those?
Of course. Everybody does, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after kind of we talked about me getting really into it in my 20s, I got married pretty young-ish. I was 23 or 24. Started having kids pretty soon. So I kind of put all that on the back burner. Had my 5 kids within 6 years, which
Oh,
I don't recommend for everybody. I don't regret a moment of it, though. I have 5 amazing children. They're really good kids. Um, but going through all that, I just kind of put on the back burner. I would do a few things here and there as friends and family asked, but wasn't
right.
actively seeking it. I didn't need to work during that time. I stayed home with my kids and was pregnant the whole time. Basically, it was crazy. Um, and after my last baby, who was the sweetest little baby girl, the perfect last kid ever, because she's just the epitome of sweetness. Um, she was about 1 years old, and I separated from my husband of the time, and just kind of went through a few years of a separation, and then it ended up ending in divorce. And so during those years, though, now I'm sitting here faced with, oh my gosh, like what do I do? I
Right.
didn't finish college. I don't have a degree. I don't have a career. I don't have anything to fall back on. I was working at the kids' school for a little while, and then 2020. I was like, okay, this is it. I'm going to go back into photography. It's the one thing I've loved. I've always wanted to do. When I'm not doing it, I'm not happy. I'll see a really beautiful picture somewhere and I'll be like, oh, I could be doing that. I want to do that. So 2020, I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I was like, okay, school pictures. I have experience with that. I've been taking pictures at my kids' private school and weddings. Those are the two things I have the most experience in. I love doing. Gonna do this. This is gonna be great. Okay, well, it gets shut down in 2020,
Good
COVID, no
plan.
weddings, no schools. So I'm like, oh, well, that changes everything. So I kind of took a sidestep. I also ended up not being able to stay in the house that I was trying to refinance throughout the divorce. So I kind of got now stuck with, oh, okay, now I need to have a plan to buy a house in a couple of years because I don't want to rent
Right.
forever, especially with the way rent prices were increasing like crazy.
Right.
I did a 2-year plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to slowly work on photography, but that's not going to be my main. I need to have provable income to be able to buy a house. So I did grocery delivery for those couple years. Bought a house 2022. I bought my house in the fall, and that was when I was like, okay, this is it, my chance. It's now or never. I have a good. I was getting some support from my ex, and I was like, on paper, like I can survive with very minimal money coming in. So if I don't do this now, it's never going to happen.
Right.
So I just went all in. I quit all my side gig jobs, quit delivering groceries. I had no other income but what I was making in photography, which was really scary. But that was kind of my pivotal moment of being like, okay, what do I want to keep just doing randomness gig work my whole life? I don't really have the time or money to go back to school, with all the kids and their
Right.
schedule. So that was when I really dove in all in full
All in,
time.
baby.
I'm like, it's full time now or never. So yeah, but I don't regret it.
And that was about the time that we met at the
Yeah,
Bong when
so
things were
I started
starting to.
coming, a couple months. I started full time in September. I started Bong about November. So yeah, it was all kind of new to me. Like, what do I do? How do I do this? So yeah.
It's a cool story to watch, and now that it's really elevated, I think you have a big fan club there in the Bong group.
Well, I do appreciate everybody's
Yeah,
support, and I've made a lot of good friends for sure.
that's okay. So one of the things I like to do is take situations like you're in and allow people to evaluate them, because right now somebody listening or watching on YouTube, they're going through the same thing, or they're about to go through it, and they're fighting that battle
Yeah.
right now that you already fought and that you already won. And I don't know if there's not really one word of advice that you can give those people other than see it through. Grit. Like that's one of the things I admire about you is you have grit. You've seen it through, and yes, it was tough, but it also looks like it was worth it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
I don't know if the divorce doesn't sound pleasant, but you made the best out of it,
Yeah.
and here you are.
Yeah.
Very, very, very
One step
cool.
at a time.
So so now here's the question, because a lot of people have excuses why they shouldn't do something. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, my kids. And I've always believed that when your excuses not to become your reasons why to, everything begins to change. And I know that you've had your kids in mind as you've worked as hard as you've worked, and you're busy, and you're a single mom, and you're running a business, and you're taking care of yourself, and you have a social life. How do you balance all of that?
Oh man, yeah. Well, I don't really have a social life. I appreciate you thinking I do.
Well, this is a social life right
No,
here.
I do.
You
I
have at
do.
least 40 minutes of a social life.
Yes, this is my great.
40,
No,
maybe 45.
Okay.
I do. No, I actually have some good friends. Yes. So, gosh, balancing it's hard, and I will say my saving grace is their dad is very involved, and we have every other week schedule. So I have a whole week of they're gone. I'm working as much as I can. So when they're home, I can be there after school as soon as
Right.
possible, and I can go to all the games and things. So that has been a huge blessing that at least I have that time. And like when I'm home with the kids, I've really focused this year. There for a while, I was under a lot of stress and pressure and anxiety and just, I think, fear of like, what am I actually doing? Why do I think this is going to work? And so I would just scroll on social media or do things that were just distracting me. So I didn't have to
Right.
like sit there and be like, oh my God, I have 5 kids right here in my living room that need me to feed them and clothe them and put gas in my car. Oh my gosh, gas. Let's talk about that. Like $200 a week. So at the height of COVID and my
Right.
my SUV to fit all the 5 kids because I can't drive anything smaller.
Wow.
So, anyways, um, so I kind of actually kind of a funny bong story. I didn't even think about this. we went on the cruise, or I did. I went on the B.O.N.G cruise. We had a bunch of us crazy business owners take a cruise together, and I purposely used that time to delete all my social media apps because I didn't buy the Wi-Fi package. I'm like, I'm not going to use them anyways.
Right.
I'm going to take this time to break my addiction.
Ooh.
I mean, it really was an addiction, and I purposely took some homework from my business coach for like mindset and just self care type work. And I tell you, since I've been back, it's been, I don't know, my mindset shifted and getting off the social media apps all the time. I mean, now what I do involves a lot of social media. A lot of my
Right.
clients, I'm making social media content for them. So I have to be on it, but finding that balance.
Right.
So I finally got that balance, set. And so that has helped me be more present, like when my kids are home and we have, so since I have 5 kids, each kid has a day of the week. And so last night was my middle son's night, Kanan. And so when it's your night, you get to help me make dinner. You're kind of my, like, if I need help with anything, like you're running little errands for me around the house,
Right.
doing anything like that. And then, but you also get a little special, one-on-one time, whether it's we're just sitting on the couch watching a movie and you get to sit next to me and, maybe I scratch your back or, something.
Right.
And so that just keeps them, they feel important and seen and
And connected, yeah, because
hmm
when you're running hard, it's hard for your kids to feel connected.
yeah,
And vice versa, when your kids are in school, you want to be connected to them, so you're making special time. That's
yeah.
beautiful. We actually have a live caller. Hang on just a second here.
Oh
One,
no.
1 second here.
Do, do, do,
Hello.
do, do.
Yeah, this is he. Oh yeah, the president of the cruise line. Yeah. Okay, I'll ask her that question. Thank you very much for calling in. We don't have a hookup here for all of this, but that was the cruise line that we were on
Oh,
together,
uh-huh.
and they wanted to hear about the Safety Sisters. Could you give just a moment about what happened there on the ship with the Safety Sisters?
Oh man. Okay, so one of my actual like hobbies, things I really like doing is making silly videos. So if you scroll back far enough in my Facebook feed, I had some viral videos, okay? So so part of the cruise was me kind of reconnecting with myself and doing things I enjoy. So my roommate, Whitney, oh my gosh, loved her. We decided to come up with a video on the cruise line. So we did, we were the Safety Sisters, and we were just giving comedic tips and tricks on how to stay alive on a cruise
How to
ship.
stay alive when a cruise ship's obviously going
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, because it's going overboard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can't recall who played the old guy in the video that got pushed to the
Yeah, and
ground.
I got to push Cash out of my way because I was running to the lifeboat.
That's still one of the funniest things. Maybe we can figure out some way to add the Safety Sisters
Add the link.
video.
You could add a link in the
Yeah,
show notes or
add a link
something.
to her page here. Well, that was awesome. That was a lot of fun, and the story was I'm out and I'm trying to do some work on the ship. I had like 30 minutes of work I needed to do. I
Right.
went out to this room where there were tables, and these kids come running up and down the hallway, and I hear them laughing and screaming, and I'm like, oh man, I am never with all these stinking kids here. I'm not going to get anything done. And then
39-year-old
the
kids coming
sounds
around the
gets
corner.
closer and closer and closer, and there's Whitney and Liliana coming around the corner.
Were
And
we in
I'm
our
like,
life vests at that point?
I think you had your life vest on. Yeah. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, we had an amazing cameraman. Kenneth also provided the.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was iPhone footage, but
It
we
was
were on a cruise line. It was.
yeah. When your friends show up and they've got life vests on a cruise ship, like your work moment is over.
I think you were like, "Oh my God, what's happening? Do I panic or is this? Yeah, what do I
Yeah,
do?"
that was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie about that. All right, I want to I'm sorry for digressing there, but that
No,
was
no, no. We allowed it.
we
Myself
okay.
and the other judges.
Well, I think people out in podcast land need to know about Liliana and that she has a great sense of humor,
Yeah.
and that was pretty awesome.
Yes, it was.
And we're still talking about it 5 months later. Okay, so I want to know a little bit more about you before we wrap up today. We're going to get a golden nugget from you at the end, a piece of advice or a tip. We're not quite there yet.
Okay.
Why do you do what you do? Why are you the way you are?
Oh wow. So obviously, my children is a big motivating factor for why I'm working for myself and creating my own empire, so I can go to the games and go on chaperone the trips on the weekends. Then, as far as with my clients, why I do what I'm doing in photography, working in the branding space, I work with a lot of women. Most of my clients are my age or maybe a little bit older, and they're kind of in that phase of life where they're like, I just don't look like I used to. And I have so many women that come to me, they're just like, I take terrible pictures, just so you know. And I'm like, no, like nobody takes a bad picture. Like you are who you are. You're beautiful the way you are.
Right.
And so, I have people nitpick themselves down to like, "Ugh, this eye is a little smaller than the other eye." And I'm like, everybody has a smaller eye, like they just don't see themselves.
You do?
It's true.
Yeah,
Hang on.
it's true. When you smile, usually one eye is a
That's
little
true.
squintier. But I'm able to take them as they are and encourage them. And I bring in hair and makeup specialists that will also just enhance their look. And even without the hair and makeup, showing them how beautiful they are. And I can't tell you how many women that I'll have just after the first like 5 or 6 pictures I take of them, when I get that one, I'm like, oh, that's
That's
amazing.
the one,
I
yeah.
show them the back of my camera. It's always like a gamble because I'm like, they're either going to be like, oh, I hate myself. But I like 90% of the time, they're like, oh my gosh, is that me? And it's like, yes, you're beautiful.
That is
Like, you
awesome.
just have to be able to, like, take somebody else to like see you and portray you in a way that shows who you really are. So really just helping women understand and see themselves as beautiful is I
I think
love.
often that's the first time they get to see themselves the way the rest of the people already see
Yeah,
them,
it's true. And I'm just as guilty. I mean, I walk by or I'll take a selfie or I'll see myself in the back of someone's picture that I wasn't prepared for. So, I look like this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is that what I look like? Well, no, that's not what I look like. It was a bad angle. It was a bad moment, like obviously. But
I have a few of
yeah.
those. Oh man, that is awesome. So you've been on a journey.
hmm
I know none of it's been easy. It hadn't been, but you've done it with grace. What's been the hardest part? Like how, I don't know, what's the hardest thing you've had to endure up to today?
Kind of ties along to the women who don't believe in themselves or believe that they're beautiful is really just believing that I can do what I have in my mind that I want to do.
Right.
Especially in the photography world, there's not a lot of photographers out there really doing well. We were in the age of mom photographers, which like they have cameras, they don't need an income necessarily, so they're out there giving away their sessions for such a ridiculously low price that you can't
Right.
live on. So that's been a struggle, and it took me a while. Really, my business coach was the one that sat me down. Was like, listen, like this is how much you need to pay to charge to make a living.
Right.
Like seeing on paper and like seeing my expenses and my overhead and how much do I want to make? Well, I need to be charging this much.
Right.
So just having the faith, I think, to take the steps, because there's so many days. This last year has been. I mean, I almost gave up so many times, and maybe tomorrow I'll feel like giving up. I don't know. It's just in the moment though when you feel like, what the heck am I doing?
Right.
I'm not going to be successful. I can't do this. I mean, this guy over here is doing it, but there's no way I can duplicate that.
Right.
Just having the faith and the courage just to take that next little baby step to
Right.
move closer to my goal.
That's a beautiful way you phrase that. You said you have to have the faith. That's an interior thing.
Yeah.
To take the steps, it's an exterior thing.
Mm.
And it's most often that success follows action. Those steps are the actions.
Yeah.
And the faith is your interior belief that where you just take another step. I think that is well said. All right, where do you see this going in the next 5 years?
Oh yeah. So 5 years from now, I definitely have a dream to not just service people in the Tulsa area, but nationwide. Really, I do have some partners in Oklahoma City. Since I grew up there, I kind of
Right.
cross over a lot. But and having a space just for other photographers to collaborate. The house that I bought in 2022, my goal will be I'll turn that into like a community studio space, maybe a little Airbnb it when it's not booked for studio. It'll just be an investment property to have space to shoot, and even open it up to like influencers to come in and do their own content creation.
Cool.
So just kind of having a community to be able to encourage other photographers in the area too, because there's so many of us
Yeah.
out there. And some of them just like I was last year, not believing that I could do this,
Right.
and being able to encourage them and provide a space for them to really just grow.
Your raving fans want to know the answer to this question, and that is, will you be reprising the Safety Sisters video in 2024?
Well, I'll tell you what. I have signed up to go on the next cruise with my sister.
Oh,
You think I'm funny?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
my baby sister and I. Just watch out. Whitney will be there too, so we'll have like a
Oh,
third.
no.
We'll have a third
The
person.
three amigos on a ship.
It's gonna be. I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
The audience is excited.
The audience is excited. All right, we are here with Lily Chris Photography, Liliana Gullo. lilychrisphotography.com, and on the socials as well. Liliana, give us a golden nugget that our entrepreneurs or people listening might take advantage of.
Okay. I was not prepared for this. So I would have to say, finding the kind of what you were saying earlier, finding the people that are doing what you want to do, that have already achieved the level of success that you would like to grow into, and learn from them. Ask. I mean, a lot of them. I have found a lot of the photographers that are very successful are willing to share, and they will answer my questions. So,
Right.
and also hiring a business coach. If you're not there yet, just find somebody that you admire and try to get some information on how they're doing it.
I think
Yeah.
that's brilliant. Find somebody that has what you want and copy it.
hmm
Did not work in third grade with mathematics, but
Yeah.
man, it sure does work in the rest of your life. You ready to wrap this up, sir?
Let's do it.
What a great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been wanting to get Liliana on here for a while. She's been a mover and a shaker and all those kind of things in the
Yeah.
B.O.N.G group, and people love her. So we were really happy to have you on here, Liliana. Great
Glad to
job
be
as
here.
well.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a wrap for today's show.
It's a wrap.
All right. Well, we are thankful for our guests who are here watching, and we'll be watching this over the time, and to our sponsors who continue to support us to make this show even possible. You know, it can be a crazy world out there. It really is. And sometimes, you know, I visualize that all of us we're just locked arm in arm walking each other home. And if you're trying to build a dream or a life, or, you know, maybe write that next book or take that next photograph, you know, often you just have to take action, and we call that fire, aim, ready. And so as we wrap up, let's remember a couple of things that will make your life better instantly. Let's be nice to each other and make good decisions. And more importantly, today, think about this. What would it be like for you if you found somebody to forgive, even if they absolutely didn't deserve it? It's one of the major things that we all benefit from in life is eternal forgiveness if we ask for it. But what about forgiving those people who don't? And I think this would be a great day for forgiveness. And forgiveness isn't for them. Forgiveness is for you, so you can cut the rope that holds that rock you've been carrying around for far too long. You about ready to wrap this up and head down to the QT?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so our three buddies, Dennis, Stu Bob, and Hink Dog, who are waiting for us down at the QT. We heard Red Bull, and the barbecue flavored jerky is on sale, 2 for 1 today. So we're going to jump in the truck and head on over. Thank you guys for liking our posts. And this show is about you. Thank you for being here. And we're signing out today from Cashflows.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cashflows.